What's up, Fort Worth family? It's Fort Worth Fabian back with a video for you guys, man. I'm back with a reaction video, and it's a horror reaction. We got 4 creepy true horror stories never heard before, featuring Unit 522 and Mr. Scarecrow. I always tell y'all about Unit 522, man, but I'm not familiar with Mr. Scarecrow. So this is a sweet introduction. This is a reaction, or actually a video from 2019. I've been recommended to do some of his stuff more recently, man, and I've always been in tune with not always, but more recently in tune with Nightmare Files. So this is one of his older videos. And the surprising thing about him, he kind of is a new horror story narrator that just kind of blew up, you know what I mean? And he's kind of like progressing. So shout out to him, man. Let's get into this reaction. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Fort Worth Fabian. We're on the road to 100,000 to 1 million to 1 billion subscribers. Let's go.
Nightmare Files.
A few years ago when I was in college, I would take odd jobs to pay my half of the rent. One day in particular, I was babysitting a set of twin boys that were 3 years old. The mother told me she hired me because she would only hire men due to her crazy ex-husband. I was confused when she told me that, so I asked why. She showed me a picture of him and said not to answer the door for him, don't let him in, and to not let him see the kids. I just said okay. I thought she was being dramatic, but I went along with it. After she left, the kids seemed harmless, so I told my girlfriend to come over. After that, there was a knock at the door. I figured it was her, so I opened the door.
Dickhead.
It was the ex-husband. This guy looked a lot scarier in real life than he did in the pictures.
So when somebody knock on the door, why do people not look through the peephole? Somebody's banging on the door, right? Hello? What? I don't even...
He towered over me with tattoos everywhere, including his neck, a bald head, and gold teeth. He asked to see his kids. I didn't know what to do, so I just told him, hold on, and I closed the door. I really didn't know what to do, so I called the woman and she didn't answer. So I texted her. Still nothing. Eventually, he started knocking on the door some more. But I would talk through the door, letting him know that I can't let him in, nor could I let the children out to see him due to the mother's request. He didn't like that too much. I stopped talking, then the knocking stopped. And the man said, okay. But it was an okay that sounded like he was going to get me back for not letting him in.
Facts.
I look outside and I see that he pulled off. I didn't call the police because he left. So my girlfriend texted me and it said she'll be there in 2 minutes. Then a few minutes go by and she isn't there yet. Then I see one of the twins looking out the window and he says, there's Daddy. I look out the window and I saw the most disturbing thing you could think of. The man was on top of my girlfriend, stabbing her repeatedly in the side of her head with a screwdriver. Her body was shaking, but she wasn't making any noise. And there was blood everywhere, all over her head, face, ground, and that man. I wanted to burst out of that.
Are you kidding me, bruh? That took an extreme turn very quickly. A dramatic turn. Basically, you got your girlfriend killed. Immediately, bruh. I'm not, like, come on, man. There's so many things wrong with this story. And I'm already getting infuriated with how homie handled the whole situation. The thing about these stories, man, I get so, like, in the moment, I'll be like, why did you do that then? And I watch so many horror films that it's like, bro, I feel like in certain situations, I'm not saying I'm gonna have the upper hand, But God forbid, if anything had like this would happen to me, bro, I would have a little bit of like inkling and understanding on how to just in that moment. It's fight or flight. You gotta be smart, bro. Like, if my girl was on the way and that dude was there, I'm automatically calling her, telling her to turn around. I'm saying, hey, there's a weirdo out by the crib, like, you know, out by the house that I'm babysitting, and I don't think it's too safe for you to be around here right now. Go back to your house and maybe I'll give you a call to come back. If not, just stay home. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just said, oh, come on over.
Door to help her, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I called the police.
You
the man just stood there, staring at the house. He never tried to escape, just waited for the police as if he were crazy. The twins' mother and the cops showed up at the same time, and she was hysterical, going between Spanish and English while crying. I felt numb, guilty, and ashamed that I called my girlfriend over, and she was killed. And I was a coward that stayed in the house. Till this day, I still feel the guilt.
Four years ago, when I was a senior in high school, my parents had to go on a business trip over the weekend. They told me I could have some friends over, but no parties. They left Friday night. It was Saturday morning when I called 5 of my friends and said my parents had gone for the weekend. We all agreed to hang out that night at my place. We invited our girlfriends too, so there were 12 of us altogether. I got plenty of snacks and drinks and even ordered pizza and wings. I was hanging out with my girlfriend in front of the pool, watching my friends swim. Not everyone was swimming. Some were relaxing or just making out. I had to use the bathroom, so I started to walk to the door of my house. As I was walking, I heard leaves getting quietly crushed in the bushes. I really didn't pay much attention to it though. When I finished up in the bathroom, I looked at the time. It was about 12:30. I was getting tired, so when I went back outside, I told everybody that it was pretty late, and I didn't want neighbors complaining about anything. It was about 1 in the morning when everyone left. I was brushing my teeth, and I looked out the window. I saw something in my pool. It looked like a human silhouette. I didn't think much of it. I thought I was just seeing things because of the lack of sleep. I fell asleep and woke up at about 9:30. I went to the bathroom and took a quick glance out the window and back, but something caught my eye, so I looked outside. I saw a man standing in my pool, facing away from my house. He was tall and bald. He looked nothing like any of my friends. I was so confused, so I went outside without even using the bathroom. I walked over to the pool, yelling at that person, trying to confront him, but he didn't even move. I walked closer, and then I got goosebumps all over my body. A scary thought went through my mind. I walked closer again so I could see his face. Once I stood in front and looked at him, I screamed so loud the whole town probably heard me. In my pool was a human taxidermy with no eyes. I screamed, running back to my house, and for some reason, I turned around while I was running. I saw someone in a black hoodie with the hood up and his head tilted a bit down. I locked all the doors and called the cops. When I was on the phone, I decided to make sure all my windows were locked. I got to a window and came face to face with the hooded man. He was so creepy looking. He had a dirty face with a messy beard, but what really stood out was his smile. It was so big and psychotic. He was missing teeth, and the ones he had were yellow, and some were chipped. I ran away and locked myself in the bathroom. The cops came in about 5 minutes and searched my yard and house. Nothing was found, and there was nothing left behind. The man and the taxidermy were gone. I told the cops everything and what the man looked like. The cops said that when they found him, they would let me know. But here I am, 4 years later, without a notice. I still live in the same house with my parents to this day, and I fear
Typical.
that man is probably still out there. But what really kills me is that he could show up at my house again at any time.
I'm 30 years old, and this story took place when I was 13. My mother was a single mom, and she had to work 2 jobs. She worked at a grocery store in the morning and a bar at night. So I was home alone.
So real quick, story number 2 is decent. Obviously, that's Mr. Scarecrow, because I know what Unit sounds like. Unit's probably going to be the last story. Mr. Scarecrow, that was an okay story. Narration I'm about to say subpar. But nah, I need to check out his channel, to be honest. I'm gonna look him up right now, to be honest with you. But the story was kind of weak to me. Okay, he a fairly new YouTuber, it looks like. He's got 13.4 subs.
On a lot, but it was okay because I was used to it. I could cook myself some dinner and walk back and forth to school. I was a pretty responsible kid for my age. One night, I was watching TV while eating ice cream, and someone knocked at the front door. I was wondering who it could be, as my friends never came out this late and my mom would always use her key to get in. I opened the door, and it was a man standing there with his hands in his pockets. I said, "Hello?" He replied, "Hello, young lady. Are your parents home?" Stupidly, I said, "No. My mom isn't home right now. You have to come back tomorrow." He then said with a surprised smile on his face, "Oh, you're all alone, huh?" I said, yeah, I am." He replied with, "Okay, young lady. Have a nice night. Don't get into any trouble."
What you on,
He then
man?
walked away and I closed the door. He seemed friendly, but also weird at the same time. He was a little funny looking though. He was balding and had 70s style
I think I've heard
glasses
this
on,
one.
with a mustache and bags under his eyes like he never slept. About 10 minutes passed, and there was another knock at the door. I got up to answer it, but before I opened the door, something told me to put the chain on.
Bro,
I don't know why.
that knocking sound effect is kind of creepy, I ain't gonna lie. And like, my pet peeve is when people knock on the door too loud. One of my pet peeves. It's like when people's just doing too much knocking, especially at houses, when like you know dang well a house has a doorbell. Just ring the doorbell. You don't need to do all this. I'm just like, bro, chill.
But my gut told me to do that. It was strange because we really didn't use the chain. But I'm glad I did, because as soon as I opened the door, it was pushed open, but abruptly stopped by the chain. Before I could even say or do anything, I looked through the crack of the door to see the same man again. And he said in a startled voice, Oh, hey there. I just wanted to make sure you were okay," as he stuttered. It was like he knew he failed getting inside the house and tried to play off any suspicion by speaking quickly and making it seem like he didn't just obviously try coming into the house.
The boy capping.
I said, "I'm fine, thanks," and I shut the door.
Boy, you weird.
At that time, I didn't really understand the situation or the dangers of what just happened. But still, I was a bit freaked out and wanted my mom to come home soon. An hour went by, and I was still thinking about what happened, so I started to watch a movie, trying to keep my mind occupied, when I heard,
"Hey, let me in quick. I gotta tell you something."
This was the scariest situation I've ever been in my life. It was the man once again. He was talking through the letterbox. I shouted, "Leave me alone." The letterbox closed. Then the man started banging on the front door, screaming, "Let me in, you little shit," while slamming the front door handle up and down trying to get in. I just stood back crying, praying he doesn't get in. He eventually gave up and left. My mom came home about 30 minutes later, just to find me crying, and I told her everything that happened. We told the police, but they never found this guy. I look back, and I think how grateful I am that I had the feeling to put the chain on the door. I hate to think what that man would have done if he had managed to get in.
I'm a female.
He would have
and
got
this story
you.
happened
What you
about
think?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've heard that story before. Surprisingly, I think I've actually already seen or heard all these horror stories. Not to ruin the video. But anyways, man, this one it was just too familiar. And I remember the story about someone putting the little lock. Do people even use those anymore, bruh?
You're spending the day
I don't
at my
got
friend's
one on my
house,
door.
waiting to go home. I sat scrolling through Instagram on my phone as I waited.
Unit.
I would look up every now and then to check to see if my bus was coming, or to see if anyone else was around. I noticed a man across the street looking in my direction. I didn't think much of it in that moment, and carried on looking at my phone. After about 2 minutes, I look up again, to see the man is still standing there staring at me. I was thinking this was weird, and I tried not to pay attention to him, and was hoping my bus would turn up soon. After 3 minutes of nervously looking through my phone, trying to ignore the strange man, I glanced up a third time to see that he wasn't there anymore. I let out a small sigh of relief. 5 minutes go by, then someone tapped me on my shoulder, and I turned around to see that it was the creepy man that had been watching me from earlier. He said,
Got a light.
with a bent cigarette in his mouth, also grinning with his yellow teeth. I replied nervously, no, I don't smoke.
I bet you don't.
He let out a quiet chuckle. I didn't know what to think of that, but he was making me very uncomfortable now. He stood by me at the bus stop and proceeded to light his cigarette with a match as he walked about 15 feet from me. I wonder why he would ask me for a light if he had matches. Maybe it was just some excuse to talk to me. About a minute passed until he spoke again. While smoking, he said,
Been a long time since I've had some tail.
He took another puff of his cigarette and continued.
Yeah, you'll do just fine.
He threw his cigarette to the ground and then turned towards me really fast. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I was breathing heavily, going into fight or flight mode. That's when I saw the lights of my bus pull around the corner. The man saw the lights and ran off. I waved the bus down in a panic. I was so scared of what could have happened to me. Thank God the bus showed up when it did.
He almost got you. That's 4 creepy true horror stories never heard before, featuring Unit 522 and Mr. Scarecrow, man. Those were decent. Well, I guess I'm biased because like I always say to you guys, man, my favorite's Nightmare Files. Not Nightmare Files, Mr. Nightmare. He's the best, man. But somebody had recommended that I react to something like this one thing, and I couldn't find Huck Horror. Chaz Johnson. He always posts under my videos. Let me see. Huck Horror Home Alone Stories. Chaz Johnson always posts that. But Huck Horror, what is that, bro? I searched that, and I have not found nothing on Huck Horror. What is Huck Horror? I don't even know what that is, bro. Huck Horror got one video. I guess Chaz Johnson is probably Huck Horror. He's trying to get me to watch his video. All right, I finally found it. Huck Horror is 2 words, my boy. It's not 1 word. And that's why I couldn't find it. Let me know y'all's thoughts on that one in the comment section below, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @ForwardFabian, man. We're on the road to 100,000 subs. I'll catch you guys next time.